Hello, happy July, thank you for joining us. This is going to be a gratitude slash how to survive, or how I survive ComicCon video. I have to give great thanks and appreciation to an amazing gentleman by the name of Neil Smith. He is the driving creative force behind Wildcard Inc., I believe it's called. He's done Dead Ahead, which is an amazing zombie pirate comic book. Currently, he's doing rock and roll autobiography comics, which are quite brilliant because he's not the very obscure bands. Very obscure. They're not. He's not focused on whatever's popular or what Joe Average might pass by and go, "I know that band," and I respect that. I respect that a lot. I couldn't have gone to Comic Con nearly as often as I have without him. The first 3 times I went, I actually paid, and this was back when you could get tickets a couple weeks before and still get in. So I was even quite lucky for that. But now it's I owe him quite a lot, and I'm always more than happy to help him out whenever he asks. So, how to survive. I know this won't be something everyone can do. This is how I do it, though. I have, the first couple times I went to Comic Con, I survived on a bag of popcorn. The whole week, a bag of popcorn. Now, how did I do that? Well, firstly, it's not typical just popcorn and butter and salt. So I'll make a huge abundance of popcorn. Usually use coconut oil. Then I'll cover it with cumin and turmeric. If I have any around, I'll also put some lemon juice on it. Then I'll pick up a bunch of salty snacks from places like the dollar store or what have you. One year I got a really nice hefty bag of Chex Mix. So I'll mix that in with the popcorn, nuts, lots of nuts if I could find it, almonds, walnuts, cashews, pistachios, or the spiced peanuts that they have sometimes. I've also used things like Cheetos or Cheez-Its. And I'll just put that all in the bag, mix it up. Then using sealable sandwich bags, I'll pack as much of those as I can. It keeps the popcorn from getting stale, which is great, and it's also quite portable, so I can carry it around with me throughout the day and lunch on that. And I do brilliant. I do quite fine with that. I have found that for me personally, if I'm not stopping to sit down and eat something, I do fine, because when I do consume, especially like a big sized, lunch, I have to sit down and process all that, and it slows me down tremendously, and I feel like a slug the rest of the day. But if I just have a snack on popcorn or whatever I have with me, I'm great. I'm fine. I also buy a pallet of water or two, and I'll freeze half of those. That will primarily be the ice that I put in coolers in case I bring anything else. There's a phenomenon I learned about recently that people call con crud, which is essentially referring to how easy it is for germs to run around and gestate when you've got a massive amount of people in a tiny small building. Me personally, I have an amazing immune system, and I hardly ever get sick. But at the same time, I know I have germs, and I don't want other people getting sick from me, and I don't want to, get sick anyway, in case I, for some reason, am in a moment of weakness. So what I do is I buy a box of those fizzy packets of Emergency. I'll carry a few of those around with me throughout the day with a couple bottles of water. The first thing I do in the morning is I'll get a bottle of water, pour the Emergency in that, drink that, maybe have some coffee, and head on out. I found an amazing recipe for easy recipe for hummus. So I'll be making a vat of that. I'll seal it up in a container, bring along some celery and carrots. So I'll munch on those when I go back to my room. A couple of years in a row I've also made a lot of musubi. It doesn't keep too long and the rice tends to get dry. So this year if I do make any, I'm just going to make a few, maybe for the first day or just for the trip there. I will be driving about 900 miles from where I'm at. It's an overnight trip, but it's one of the parts of the experience that I adore most. I find it to be quite nice. I do have did get a hotel on a hotel row, and I guess that's something else I should talk about. So if you are in San Diego and you do get a hotel in that region called Hotel Row, then you are lucky enough to take a free trolley. I'm sorry, not a trolley, shuttle. A free shuttle. It will stop several times throughout the day at these various places and take you directly to ComicCon. Of course, if there's other hotels between you and there, we'll stop there to pick people up or drop them off. The first couple times I went, I didn't even know about it. I always took a taxi. That was quite bad. That was really quite bad. If I would have known I could have gotten there for free, it would have been a lot easier. So keep an eye out if you got a hotel near Hotel Row. Try to find other hotels nearby that may be part of that shuttle system. You'll just have to walk a few feet, wait at a bus stop, and it'll come pick you up. Not hard to find either. You just have to look for people carrying either the Comic-Con bags or actually in cosplay. Now, the first 2 years I went, I did go late, as in I didn't get my tickets until a couple of weeks before, so all the hotels were filled up, completely filled up. So I got a hotel in a nearby city called Chula Vista. Now, San Diego also has an amazing trolley system, or people mover, or whatever. So I got a hotel in Chula Vista that was right near one of the stations. Bought a week pass that was under $10, so I could walk from my hotel to the trolley station, be picked up, dropped off right in front of Comic-Con. And the only negative about that is the trolley system doesn't run all day and night. It only goes till about 11 or 12. Whereas the shuttle that will take you back and forth between hotels, that runs all day and all night. So if for some reason or another you're out of luck and you can't find a nearby hotel, try to look up their, I wish I could remember their system. It's a brilliant system. But they do have a trolley system. If you could look up the little cities where those are at, then you should be able to get to Comic-Con from there. And the schedule is quite easy to read. The lines are all clearly marked. So that's pretty much all I do to survive. I do always get a new package of socks to bring along, and I'll use those throughout the week. Comfortable shoes are always a plus. There's something I'm missing. I know there's something I'm missing. Well, if you're going for the first time, you're going to be inundated with so much to see. And it's not just with, all the cool stuff you could buy or whatever. There's going to be people there. There's going to be immaculately dressed cosplayers and people with cameras and television shows, news reporters, and celebrities will be walking around everywhere. I've seen quite a few, and I've actually stopped and had some amazing conversations with them. So depending on what you're going there for and how long you're there, you might want to work out a system. So if there are panels that you want to look at, first and foremost, find out where they are, what times they are, and make sure that you, depending on how big they are, line up for them. You may not get in if there's a lot of people that want to go there. Hall H, that's, unless you're a gigantic fan and you're willing to stay overnight in line, more power to you. Otherwise, you're gonna be wasting your entire experience in line. So I would recommend not doing the Hall H thing if it's your first time, unless you are going there specifically to see a panel. one day you might want to so you could separate your days out. Like maybe one day you can spend most of your time on the convention floor, the dealer's hall, because it will pretty much take you all day to see everything that's there. If you go early enough, you'll have more elbow room on the floor. You'll get to see more. As the day goes on, of course, it'll just get more and more crowded. There's always just as much going on outside the convention as there is inside. Go to the website, the ComicCon website. You can look up events that are happening outside. I've found a few parties going on that have captured my attention. There's a Ready Player One themed party that sounds quite interesting. I know Funko's doing one. That's one you have to pay to get in. It's like $70, but you get a goodie bag full of exclusives, as they put it. So that's cool. I know Super 7 is setting up a pop-up shop that's going to be She-Ra themed, based around the evil bad guy Hordak. That sounds cool. I'd like to check that out. Vendors. So I'm sure that if you're going there, you're a collector or a huge fan of something. So go online, and they'll have a list of all the vendors. Maybe you'll find one that you're looking for in particular, or just one that you're interested in. And make a list of all the vendors that you want to check out, and write down their booth number. Now, the numbers themselves, the booths aren't numbered individually, but if you look up, there'll be a big blue sign, and it'll say the aisle number, like 5900 or something like that. So if a booth you want to go to is 5920, then you'll know it's going to be in that general vicinity. I'm really looking forward to going to Cryptozoic again this year. I'm a huge fan of their games, and they also do these amazing vinyl figures for DC Bombshells, and they recently started doing one for Street Fighter called Little Knockouts. And hopefully they have some cool promos there this year as far as games go. They've always been really nice since I have started going there. They recognize me because I'm such a fan, and they're very, very appreciative of their fans, which I think is brilliant. Blizzard, of course. I'm really excited to see what Blizzard has to offer. I haven't seen anything as far as exclusives go, except I think it's Tiny Bastion vinyl, actually. So far, that's all they've shown. Blizzard, Capcom, always really excited to go to the Capcom booth. The lines there are normally insane. Past few years I've been a bit disappointed because their main focus has been on the big championship joysticks or light up busts and statues, which are a bit too pricey for me, and I kind of don't want to carry them all around the convention when I get them. Well, that's another thing too. They have bagged areas where you could check in your bags for a price, and they'll hold it for you all day. And there's also a place where you can mail your stuff back to your house if you don't have room to take it back with you. I'm hoping to do a lot more content this year. We might be meeting someone that's got a GoPro, so I might be able to use something like that, or have him just do it and he'll let me use the content. They haven't announced too many panels. I want to say like either Ballroom 20 or the Indigo Ballroom. Almost all day Saturday or Friday is going to be pretty much devoted to the CW DC shows. So that's Supergirl, Arrow, Legends, Gotham? No, I don't think Gotham was on there. Oh, Black Lightning. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot going on outside this year that I've also been looking up. I talked a little bit about it. So I'm sure I'm going to devote one day to just doing that. If I do end up meeting this person, I might end up splitting my pass with them. So that will give me a lot more freedom to go around outside. So in short, if you are going for your first time and you're kind of in over your head, plan ahead. Look at the panels that are going on. look up the booth numbers of vendors that you're interested in, write it all down, make an itinerary, stay hydrated, always stay hydrated. One thing I forgot about, sunscreen. You will be in San Diego. At some point you will be outside. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be very sunny. So make sure that you have your sunscreen so you don't get burnt. There's always just as much going outside as there is inside. Even if you don't have a ticket to get into the convention proper, you're going to find some amazing stuff to do on the outside. So far, of the few events I've seen going on outside, only one of them required a badge. All the others are open to the public. Even the Nintendo Lounge is open to the public now too. Makes it a bit crowded, but you know, it's better for the company anyway. I haven't seen too many exclusives I'm very excited about, which is nice. It'll make it easier on my pocketbook, but there's almost always going to be something that I'm going to look at and go back and forth all that week until I finally decide to buy it, or I'm kicking myself on the way home for not getting it. But that of course also depends on, you know, if I spend it on anything else. One more vendor I forgot about. That's a Sideshow. Okay, I'm very, very excited to go to the Sideshow booth this year. They kickstarted with Project Raygun, a brilliant looking game based on their IP Court of the Dead. Court of the Dead, that's what it's called. This year. The board game is a miniatures game. Looks like it's area control with some drafting elements and other things like that. Bit cooperative too, I suppose. But I'm hoping maybe they're going to have some pins or decks of cards or coins or something like that that I can pick up and just add to the ambience of the game. I'll show you this really quick. Probably running out of time or going too long. Then we'll stop. So this is the Premium Dealers Pack. The reason why I got it, I do collect fantasy coins, and it came with this dealer's token. Look at that. It's a very thick, solid metal. It's got some amazing heft to it. Brilliant. It's just beautiful. Now these cards are separated out by factions. All the suits are the same, hearts, clubs, what have you. But each suit will represent a different faction of flesh, bone, or spirit. I'm guessing that the leftover suit will represent a kind of a unity between them, and each of the face cards is a different character in their series or mythos. They all have names. They're all actual people with stories. I'm afraid I'm quite ignorant about who they are and what they do. So that is something I'm looking forward to picking up, is they do have a book that you can pick up. Brilliant art book, but it also has the story and the mythos behind Court of the Dead. Okay. So I'm sorry if I left something out. Highly doubt anyone's going to have any questions, but if you do, I'm more than happy to answer them. I know I'm not an old pro when it comes to this, but I've been doing it often enough that I do have a rhythm to how I do the stuff at Comic-Con. Again, huge thanks to brilliant gentleman and a great friend, Mel Smith, for giving us this opportunity yet again. Have always been under the impression that amazing things happen at Comic-Con for me, and they always have. Every year something incredible has occurred. Maybe I'll go into that another time, but it's quite a lovely place. I enjoy the hell out of it. I'm very lucky to go there. If I couldn't get into the convention proper, most likely I'd go down there anyway, just to experience what goes on outside. Alright, I'll shut down. I've probably gone too long. I just can't stop talking about it. I'm very excited, if you can't tell. I look forward to hopefully making some friends or contacts or whatever. I've made a few there, and they've also been just brilliant and nice. that's another survival tip that I forgot about. I'm sorry. Be nice. Be kind. Be patient. You're going to be in an area that is overfilled with tons and tons of people. And as the week goes through, many of them get agitated, including the vendors, because the vendors have been sitting there all week and dealing with massive amounts of angry people. So I have found that if it's later in the week and I go to a vendor and I see them rolling their eyes or just kind of stirring in the seat, I'll go up to them like, hey, are you okay? Or try to have a conversation with them, whatever. How's your day going? Something like that. A lot of times they'll say, oh man, you have no idea, something like that. Or, all I want to do is I just do this. Or so I'll offer, can I get you some coffee? Do you need some water? Or something like that, or whatever. Many times they say no. A few times they said yes. And I'm more than happy to go out and do something for them. But either way, in that exchange, they've, of me just being nice, they'll be, more often than not, they'll say, oh my God, you're the only person that I've been able to talk to today that hasn't been a dick. And some of them are very, very grateful for that. And more often than not, I'll be looking at something and they'll say, like, I'll ask them, how much is this? And they'll be like, take it. Or they'll, knock a few dollars off it or something like that. So, that's what being nice does. If you run afoul of somebody that's being stupid or mean or whatever, try not to react to it, because that's their own damage. And if somebody bumps you or shoulders you out of the way when you're looking at something, just kind of take a deep breath, acknowledge that moment, and move on. Because if you react to it, you're just creating more issues. Not only for them, but for yourself. So try to have a good time. Take it all in. Be nice. Stay hydrated. You're at Comic-Con. It's going to be amazing. Believe me. So thank you for allowing me to gush about this. Don't get to talk to too many people about it. Except for Batman there. I hope to have some content for you. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this. Have a great July.